What is happening, everybody? Friday, February 28th, 2025. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Loud Majority Live. Something just happened in the Oval Office. Something unbelievable. Look, I want to be clear about something that some people, the neocons, probably aren't going to like. There was a time in this country where the rest of the world just did what America said. They shut their mouths and they just did it. And then they came back and they said, thank you. Well, look, there's no other way to put this. There's no other way to put it. The age of American stones are back. Because Vladimir Zelenskyy just went into the Oval Office and tried to dictate to the United States President, Vice President, Secretary of State, and many other diplomats on what the Americans were going to do for him. And I got to tell you, I have never in my life seen a beating like that in public. I mean, this is the kind of stuff you keep. This is the kind of stuff you keep behind closed doors. Holy crap. That was out of control. We are going to show you guys the entire exchange in just a minute. We're going to let the show populate a little bit more. Before we dive into all of that, guys, make sure you're hitting the thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. Everybody needs to see this. This was... It almost looked like... You ever see somebody beat their child in public and, like, after a little bit, you're like, oh, stop. Oh, like it was great, but out of control. Once we get 700 in the live chat, I will throw it up onto the screen. Just like I said, I'm going to let the show populate a little bit. Everybody just got their update that we are live, so we're going to keep it in here, keep it locked in real quick. Let's for the moment, let's put the live chat up on the screen. What's happening, everybody? I want to welcome everybody in who may be new, coming over from Jeremy's show. That was a beating like I've never seen before in my life. Holy crap! It started to get a little uncomfortable there for a minute. I got to be honest with you. It started to get a little uncomfortable there for a minute. We are going to show you. You know, I have such a great guest coming on the show today, and we're talking about the White House press corps. You guys see it from the thumbnail. Monica Page is going to be on later in the episode. But I was not expecting this. I was not expecting this at all. 800 in. Guys, hit the thumbs up button. Share the video out. Let's check this out, because, oh, Nelly, was that uncomfortable to watch? Check it out.
And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal? That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I will respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2015.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was,
he killed,
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly
but-
right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, yeah, the situation the same. The people are been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him. Me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract. Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr.
are
President,
not
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have
And do you think that it's
I will
respectful
answer.
to come to the Oval Office
I
of the
will
United
answer.
States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know that.
bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
I'm not
You're in
dictating.
no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influenced.
We're going to feel
I'm-
very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right about
From the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position.
I
You don't
was
have
in
the
it.
cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think
You're
you-
gambling with World War
What you're-
III.
what you're
You're
speaking about?
gambling with
What you're
World
speaking
War
about?
III. And
You-
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once? This
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the
What-
United States
what
of
you're speaking
America
about?
and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can I-
trouble.
can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
I,
You have a damn
we-
good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said
stupid
thank-
president, $350 billion.
You
We
voted
gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for your
are brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about you
If
speaking?
you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of times thank you to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't, please,
you're running
Mr.
low
President.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that
is
was with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make,
Um,
because the attitudes have to change.
what if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do we do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you
but
saying?
what
She's
if
asking,
Russia-
what if Russia
Putin
breaks the ceasefire?
for the
What
Donbass?
if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now?
But they have
Okay?
broken
What if they
ceasefire
broke it?
for many
I don't know.
times.
They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
But what-
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right. We'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thanks.
Holy shit. That was unbelievable. I have never seen Donald Trump that pissed off. I have never seen Donald Trump that mad. Sorry, I cursed. I have never seen, wow. And he's right. Nothing Donald Trump just said is wrong. Now you watch what's going to happen. You watch what's going to happen. Now he's going to take his gripes to the American news media, the CNNs and the ABCs of the world, the neocons over on Fox News, who are going to say, oh, he disgraced us on the world stage and he did this. No, he didn't. He said that we're running the show here, and if you don't like that, you can get the hell out. You don't get to come into this country, dictate the terms by which we pay for your war. And this is not, don't let the idiots online and don't let your idiot friends try to convince you this has anything to do with, say, Lend-Lease, where we paid for the beginning of the Second World War to the Soviet Union and to England and to France. It's nothing like that. As a matter of fact, England was still paying back the debt from Lend-Lease up until the 1980s. It has nothing to do with that. We're going to pop the live chat up onto the screen because I want to get your take on look, there's no other way to say it. You just watched a very small man get his ass beat live on television. That's it. That's it. That's exactly what you saw there. America is back in charge. America is back in charge. This has been the problem. The biggest problem with Zelenskyy the entire time. It's have a little humility, bro. Have a little humility. America, the most giving nation in the world, in the history of the world. Have a little bit of humility. No, that's not what Zelenskyy does. Zelenskyy comes here, campaigns in Pennsylvania, and then we still have to sit there, and listen about Russian interference, foreign interference in our election. Zelenskyy campaigned for Josh Shapiro, campaigned with Josh Shapiro for Kamala Harris. And now I got to sit there and listen to more BS about $100,000 worth of Facebook ads? That's what I got to hear, $100,000 in Facebook ads? Kay, I can't throw up your tweet because I can only put up the Rumble tweet. But yes, Zelenskyy, get effed. I want to be clear. Vladimir Zelenskyy just cost his country this war. He did. Because his inability to operate correctly in public is now going to give Putin the impetus he needs to take whatever the hell he wants. Whatever he wants. That was unbelievable. That was unbelievable. The height of arrogance. You come here and you campaign for the losing side, and then you walk up shaking a cup, expecting the American taxpayer to fund your war because you can't see that you've already lost. Look, if there was a chance that Ukraine could win this war and take back the Donbass and take back Crimea, maybe I would be a little bit more sympathetic to their cause. But it's over. It's over. Accept that you've lost. Am I happy that Ukraine lost this war? Am I happy that we pissed away hundreds of billions of dollars into this boondoggle? Of course not. But it's time to face reality, bro. You're done. You lost. Is it possible? Is it possible? I'm not saying probable. I'm not saying likely. But is it possible that the reason why Zelenskyy wants this war to keep going on is because, according to the Ukrainian constitution, elections cannot be called if martial law is put in place? Therefore, he has a reason to drag out this war so that he can continue to stay in power? Might that have something to do with it? And first off, Vlad, don't you ever come into the Oval Office and call our vice president by his first name. Who the had to block out that word. Who do you think you are? You're a country that 90% of Americans couldn't point out on a map yet. I want to be clear. Whatever help the Ukrainians were going to get from America just ended in that press conference. Guys, hit the thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. That was wild. That was wild. Make sure you guys are following the page wherever it is you're watching. If you're watching on X, do me a favor. Please repost this show. It really does help the channel grow. If you guys we got big numbers today. I'm liking it. So let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. We're all thinking the same thing, Kevin. Absolutely. Don't ever come into the Oval Office without a tie on. Yeah. Have a little bit of respect. Come in where, first off, okay, I want to be clear. Grown men wearing cargo pants, unless you're on a construction site, no. Grown men shouldn't wear cargo pants. That's like a life rule, you know. Unless you're currently doing work on your roof, grown men shouldn't wear cargo pants. But Kevin, he's doing it in solidarity. What the hell does that mean? Churchill wore a tuxedo everywhere. He might as well be wearing sweatpants. Yeah, have a little bit of pride. Have a little bit of, a little respect for the august room you're about to walk into. And that's the difference. And if you guys remember, when I was on Tim Pool last week, we discussed this. That there is a certain expectation that Zelenskyy feels like he's owed this by us. That we owe him this. That the world expects the American people just to pony up the money whenever something happens. Those days are over. Yes, Trump gave them javelins. He gave them a fighting chance. And then do you know what happened? They lost. It turns out sometimes, and I'm going to break the bank here. It turns out sometimes you lose wars. It happens. And when you lose wars, you face the consequences of that. But Zelenskyy cannot handle that. Why? Because he believes, like most of the world believes, it is somehow America's responsibility to bear the brunt, bear the cost of this. And we're done. We're done. You come to Pennsylvania and you campaign for Kamala Harris? Look, I want to be clear about something, okay? I have no issue, and I mean this. I have no issue. Someone in politics once told me this. And a couple of people watching this are going to know exactly what I mean here. The best advice I've ever been given in politics was, you know what? I'll say it. It was by our local party chairman. He said to me, "You can run a primary if you want, just don't lose." Because guess what? When you roll the dice like that, like Zelenskyy did, when you roll the dice and bet on Kamala Harris and Donald Trump wins, it turns out there's consequences to that. Which, I want to be clear, I learned the hard way. Shout out to our local chairman here. You want to pick a side? No problem. Don't lose, though. Don't lose. And Zelenskyy lost. Went to Pennsylvania, got involved in our elections, came out on the losing side, and then grabbed a cup and kept shaking the damn thing. And then walked into our Oval Office and lectured our president. Yo, Zelenskyy, look, you can do this because you're wearing work boots inside of our Oval Office. Go kick rocks. Go kick rocks. Holy moly. Holy moly. That was out of control. That was out of control. And you know what? It needed to happen. It needed to happen. And you know what? Like Donald Trump said, it's going to be good TV. Because America needed to see the arrogance and the expectation that they've been dealing with in private, in public. What Nancy Joy said it right. What a way to start the show. Holy crap. When I had Monica Page on to talk about how great it is working in the new White House press corps, I bet she never thought that I was going to start the first half of the show with that. That is, we're going to have Monica on in like 10 minutes. Guys, before we keep rocking and rolling, hit the thumbs up button. Share this video out all over the place. Share it out, share it out, share it out. That was Bananas. Bananas. Banana. That was great. Finally, everyone got to see the stuff that we've always known to be true, the stuff that we knew was happening behind closed doors. And you know what? I'm happy that people got to see it. And of course, the usual idiots are freaking out over on X. I haven't checked yet, but I'm sure Krasenstein's losing their mind. I'm sure Harry Sisson is calling it an embarrassment. I'm sure JoJo from Jersey's Prozac is worn off. I'm sure all of them happening. That guy who was accused of selling crack in Brooklyn, I forgot what his name is. He's probably losing his mind. They're all losing it. Good. The age of you'll do what America says and you'll like it, or we're out. The age of that is back. Guys, we'll be back in 1 second. Before we get to that, guys, head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. That's loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for our newsletter. Check out the shop. That is the best way to support this show and everything we've got going on. Do I have it up? Bing, 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 bing. Let's see. Where is it? We got so much good stuff over there. Big show today, guys. So you guys are going to be getting to see some of the good stuff. Check this out. Check out all the good stuff. We got the Doge hat. I wish I was wearing a better hat today. Check out all the good stuff over there. We got the St. Patrick's Day stuff. We got the old Kiss Me, I voted for Trump. I tell you what, this shirt comes with a makeout guarantee. If you buy this shirt and wear it to a St. Patrick's Day parade, someone will undoubtedly attempt to kiss you. I can promise you that. Guys, check out all the good stuff over there. We've got a huge sale. We got whiskey glasses. We got candles. We got the loud. Look at it. If there was ever a time for this shirt, it would be right now. We, the people, are back. Head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. Pick that up. You guys can use promo code LFA to get 20% off everything on the website. That's promo code LFA to get 20% off everything on the website. Guys, we'll be back in 1 second.
When big banks decide who gets access to America's financial systems and who doesn't, who do you think gets left out? Middle Americans who proudly wave their pro-America values. Cancel culture in banking is corrosive. It limits your participation in a vibrant, free market economy. Fortunately, you can fight back. You now have the opportunity to invest in the bank that's investing in a fair American banking system, one based in freedom. Ownership in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank, is here. Old Glory Bank is a full-service FDIC-insured bank that's the alternative to overreaching, un-American big banks. We stand for privacy, security, and liberty. We stand for freedom, family, faith, and the flag. We stand for all the values you stand for, and for the values big banks can't stand. So help keep banking in the hands of Main Street, not Wall Street. To invest in Old Glory Bank, go to oldglorybank.com.
Guys, I'll be honest with you. I never thought I'd be advertising a bank on this show. But the guys over at Old Glory Bank, Mike Ringer, John Rich, and Ben Carson, Larry Elder, look, they're building out the parallel economy. Give them a call. Check it out today. Go over there for information on Old Glory Bank. You can check out their. I think every person, particularly now the way interest rates are, lock up some of your money into CDs. It is totally safe at 3.5% interest rates. Every single person should have a couple of CDs set up, particularly if we're going to get interest rate drops. Lock in that interest rate today, 3.5% over at oldglorybank.com. That's oldglorybank.com. So, as you guys see from the thumbnail, I was planning on having a very good friend of mine on the show today, and we're going to have her in just a minute. Monica Page, White House correspondent for Turning Point USA. She used to be with One America News Network. About what things are like in the press room, how things are different now than they were with Karine Jean-Pierre. Trump just canceled the press conference with Zelenskyy. So there was supposed to be a press conference. Following that Oval Office gaggle. There was supposed to be a press conference following that. We were going to bring that to you, but we're getting word now, this from Gunther Engelman over on X, that that has been canceled, which means Donald Trump just threw him out. Which means Donald Trump just threw him out of the Oval Office. He said, take your shit, get out. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Guys, we'll be back in 1 second with Monica Page. Wow. Guys, hang out. Alrighty, guys, we are back. I'm jacked up about this one. It's not often I get to say this phrase, but I want to welcome in a very good friend of mine live from the White House, the White House correspondent for Turning Point USA, my friend Monica Page. Monica, how are you?
Hi, Kev. Thanks so much for having me. I'm great. It's a beautiful day out here. Finally getting rid of the winter jacket. So we are here outside the White House, finally above 60 degrees. So we're happy.
I'm so happy that winter was short. It sucked for a little bit.
Yeah, it did.
Especially because I still haven't thawed out from inauguration, where I thought I was going to die, but it was absolutely awful. So obviously the White House press corps, which you are a part of, has been shaken up a bit in the last couple of weeks since Carolyn Levitt took it over. What's been different for you? Because we show the press briefings on this show every time Carolyn has them. She seems to be doing them at 1:00, which is great for me. But what's it been like in there? Because everything seems to be different, and it certainly seems to be a lot more attended than it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, just to kick off your question, I mean, the biggest difference, so what's different for us, is that we're finally getting questions. I mean, not only are we getting access basically 24/7, anytime we want to have access, we can get it, but also we're getting called on. Some of our questions are being answered. And, we're not in there for our own health. We're in there representing the American people. We're in there representing you and common sense voices. So it helps us to do our job, and also helps the American people get a sense of where their country is at and where their head is at regarding these issues that don't just affect, the elites. It affects everybody. It doesn't just affect the poor person. It affects everybody. You know what I mean? So it feels great to finally be part of something bigger. I mean, you compare and contrast from the last administration. Karine Jean-Pierre didn't even look in my direction. I tried to get just a simple meeting with her, and she was too busy for me. But any email that I'd send to her was either forwarded over to somebody else or deleted. So the fact that I send emails to this staff, and they're always so good at getting back to me, the way that they have been pumping out hard passes to all these independent journalists and just people who are passionate about covering the White House in general, speaks volumes. I mean, this White House, I have never seen it this packed. I mean, since President Trump stepped into the White House for a second term, it has been the most crowded that I've ever seen. During the last administration, during those press briefings, there would be like extra seats that weren't filled throughout the seating chart, the 7x7 seating chart, and you could stand if you wanted to. I mean, I had to stand because I didn't have a seat, but now it's completely packed all the time. And like you said, 1:00 is a great time to do briefings. It's not just the briefing room. They have gaggles right outside the Oval Office right here. And we see senior executives going up and down Pebble Beach to each of the media tents, doing hits with not only media outlets like, say, Newsmax or Fox, but they're doing hits with CNN too. They're not afraid of the challenge that opposing media poses to them. But it's great. It's super refreshing. And I feel like it's been like a rebirth here, I guess you can say, because you can feel the passion among a lot of these journalists, and you can definitely feel that we are really back as a country.
Absolutely. And, it's so great to watch what Carolyn's been doing, bringing in new voices, really shaking things up. This whole thing with the Associated Press, I found it so fascinating because, look, I'm a journalist. I'm a reporter. I don't have a right to cover the White House, which is why I'm here and you're standing there. But so many of these people think that, oh, well, I'm the AP, so I'm allowed in here. And it's like, just because things have always been done a certain way doesn't mean they have to continue to be done a certain way. And seeing, I see you and Daniel and Brian Glenn standing in the corner over there, and I'm like, oh, it's my friends. It's my friends. Yeah. And it's so refreshing, not only for younger voices, new media voices, but just different questions. You saw towards the end of the Biden administration, the NBCs, the ABCs started to get a little pissed off that they were clearly being lied to. So it must have been unbelievable for you.
Yeah, Kevin, to your point, I mean, the last administration really bred this sense of elitism among the press corps. I have a seat, which means I automatically get called on. You don't have a seat? Well, sorry, too bad. You definitely don't have a chance to get called on. But things have completely changed, and it's refreshing, like I just mentioned. But it's also interesting because the press corps that has established these set of rules and these hard lines that are just so exclusive to their own little club is now being completely eroded and just completely torn apart by this new administration, and they don't know what to do with themselves. We actually received an email from the WHCA president, Eugene Daniels, the one and only, and it was like a novel of an email. We scrolled and we scrolled, and it says, I know you guys are really suffering this time. I feel your pain. I wish it wasn't like this. It's so sad that we have to go through this. As if, like, you would think the world is ending the way that he was framing this email. And now the White House press corps is not going to cooperate with the White House. They have no ties to and don't want to work with this Trump administration, which is really upsetting. But I mean, the White House is going to do things the way they want to do them. And if that upsets them, then so be it. They have been a boys' club. They have been excluding other members of the press. I remember the way that they looked at me funny when I was at OAN. I remember when they looked at, Chanel funny when she was standing in the back of the room. They didn't give her a seat. You know what I mean? And the way that they treated her and the way that they treated, so-called members of the press, that corresponds with them just because they're part of the White House Correspondents Association, was completely unfair. So they bred this sense of elitism, like I just mentioned, and they want to keep that going. They say, oh, this White House is turning into the Kremlin, state-picked media. That's not true. Look what they have done. Look what they've developed. And you want to call the White House the Kremlin? I mean, you can't have it both ways. It's, save your performative activism.
I mean, it's so funny to watch them them react to what they did to themselves and then not be able to handle it. If the previous administration hadn't acted the way they did, if people like Jim Acosta hadn't grandstanded, we saw, I know you won't say it because you work with them, but Caitlin Collins the other day in the White House, I'm like, this is not your show.
Right.
You are not the main, as a reporter, you should never be the main character in a story. And if you are, someone else should be telling the story.
Right.
And it seems like a lot of these people tend to use this not as a vehicle to report the truth, but as a way to make their own stock rise, to either elevate in their network or, like we saw in the last administration, ascend to the podium. And that's just not the way it is now.
No, and it's funny the way that they treat new members of the press. It's almost as if like they're not good enough to be part of their club. Just because we're establishment media, automatically means that they're above you or they have the sense of superiority over you. But we have seen over the last 4 years of this shift that where people trust our voices more than theirs, and because we bring the facts. We're not covering up Biden's cognitive decline. We're saying what it is. We're not covering up X, Y, and Z. We're bringing you the truth. The economy was failing. The border was open. You know what I mean? And it's obvious that this old media, these old legacy hacks that are still running around this White House, they're still gonna they're going to be upset about it. But, I hope that this has lasting effects, not only for the next 4 years, but for the next years to come. And I really hope it's, that this is, the norm.
I mean, it's so interesting when you see, we saw the firing of Joy Reid the other day and MSNBC melted down. And normally I do my best not to take joy in people suffering, but I really did enjoy it, especially when I looked at her ratings. And I thought to myself, you get 60,000 in the demo. I get that. And you have if I had her staff, I would have Rogan numbers, but it's just me and a camera and a microphone. And seeing Carolyn really open that up to the world is been phenomenal. Like you said, that the White House Correspondents Association has always been a boys' club, and it's always been, those were the gatekeepers. And, now the gatekeepers can't get in, and watching them have to fight on an equal playing field the way people like you and the way Turning Point has and OAN and Real America's Voice and my network, and to actually have to fight to break in to get those questions in. They don't know how to handle it. They don't know how good they had it for so long.
That's a great point. They don't know how good they've had it. They don't know the feeling, of not getting called on. And now they're finally experiencing what we had to deal with over the last 4 years. And now we're finally getting these opportunities. I mean, it's like a glimmer of hope. You work so hard to bring the truth to the American people. And the last 4 years, we were punished for doing so. I mean, we were censored, we were deplatformed, we were kicked out of events. Like, I think I got denied from a couple of events here at the White House I'd say about the last year and a half ago, I'd say, just because I don't know, maybe they had too many people and they just didn't want OAN in at that time. But now, I'm getting approved for everything. And now hopefully I'll get some access to the Oval Office and some, more intimate spaces at the White House where we hadn't gone before. So, I mean, this is a big deal. And shame on them for, they did this to themselves, like you just said. So we're only less than 2 months in. Imagine what's going to happen over the next 4 years. We are ready. So buckle up.
Oh, I can't wait. And, every day I get told I didn't vote for this. And every day I'm like, nah, I think I did. I think I voted I think I voted to see elitists cry. And that's what I'm getting. I'm getting, what's funny about it too is that Carolyn doesn't ignore CNN. She doesn't ignore ABC. She just doesn't call on them first. The Associated Press, I want to be clear. If it was like 1973, I'd be like, okay, maybe call on them because they're the premier news outlet. But does anyone go to the AP anymore?
No.
It's like, it is this administration is a transition into the future. I mean, just with you guys, a Turning Point. If anyone has never been to a Turning Point USA event, I don't care if it's AmFest or if it's the one they do down in Florida, you have to go. It is the most fun place on planet Earth. You all need to be there because it's the future. And I try to tell that to everybody, like, make the trip.
Yeah, I mean, and it's they're so welcoming. I mean, even if you're not a conservative and you're looking to maybe expand your knowledge on a specific topic, I mean, Turning Point is common sense. I mean, it's fact-based common sense. And many people are like, oh, it's an extreme right-wing organization. No, it's not. I mean, you saw the Guardian piece that Robert Mackey put out. He attacked our little corner that we have in the press briefing room with me, Dan, Brian Glenn, Mary Margaret, and saying, oh, Monica, a right-wing organization, Turning Point USA, pro-Trump, framed her question saying that it's clear this administration, is dedicated to truth and transparency. I'm like, why is that a bad thing? You're saying it as if that's not true. Have you not been awake for the past 2 months where, yes, it's clear this administration is dedicated to truth and transparency because we know that with Doge. It's funny. You said, you love hearing the people say, we didn't vote for this. There was actually just a protest outside one of the union buildings across the street from the White House. And people were holding signs like, I didn't vote for Elon Musk. I'm like, I surely did because I voted for Trump. I mean, when you say you didn't vote for this, yes, you did.
You did. And you know what? Maybe some of you didn't vote for it, and not enough of you didn't vote for it. That's how elections work. It's weird how that, but just tacting to the middle now seems like to the left that it's the extreme right because they've controlled the narrative and the power for so long that now that we're just back to what normal people would consider normal. I mean, you guys, just to be clear, I'm friends with a lot of people in the press room. We're friends. You guys don't ask softball questions. Like, you ask like challenging things that people want to know about. It's not like, when I heard ABC 3 years ago ask what Joe Biden's favorite flavor of ice cream was. Like, I put my hands up and went, all right, we're done. We're done with it.
And now listen to the questions now. It's so bizarre. There was a reporter, I don't know who she was, but she was criticizing and questioning the Trump administration's conditions of Guantanamo Bay. I was like, excuse me, these are criminals. Mm-hmm. Do you really care about the conditions of serial rapists, murderers, etc.? And mind you, by the way, that reporter was pregnant. So it's like, what if that were your child that was taken by an illegal alien and brutally killed? Would you still question the conditions at Guantanamo Bay? Mm-hmm. I mean, the audacity to ask that question. I looked at her. I make the face, by the way. I know I make the face whenever there's a stupid question. I'm saying, what the hell kind of question is that? You're really going to ask that? There's so many other things you can ask. And you choose to ask what the conditions of Guantanamo. Are you concerned? They're in shackles and they're inside all day? Good. Let them rot because they rape and they murder people. I mean, common sense. They have things
Also,
pushed so far to the left that concept is so radical. It's bizarro land.
also breaking news. It sucks at Guantanamo Bay. Um, I,
Yeah.
2003 called. They want their breaking news back. Like, yeah, it turns out it sucks there. Like,
Right.
we're not going to put Khalid Sheikh Mohammed in the Radisson. We're just not going
Right.
to do that.
Right.
It's odd. Although 8 years, Obama.
Yeah. Question mark.
Question mark. Yeah, he was shut, I think he was shutting that down. Turns out that didn't happen.
Right.
But you know, it is. Firstly, it is refreshing to see young people in there. It is refreshing to see, you know, our side actually get a little bit of play. But what are you sensing in the room? Is there like what is the tension like when Carolyn walks in the first day? And for those of you who don't know, there used to be a rule at the White House press corps that the Associated Press got the first question every day, where she just, I loved that she just went, things here are going to change.
Yeah.
Breitbart, what do you got?
Yep.
And you heard audible gasps in the right. People couldn't fathom it. Is there like a tension in the room among, like the new school with the old school?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You can feel it, and you can literally see it too. I mean, you've got the 7x7 media seats where everybody has their assigned seat, and then you've got all of us in a U shape around the room. We're all the new media. We're all the media that don't have seats. When Caroline made the announcement that she's going to open the press pool up to new media, you could hear a little cheers at the room, like, "Yay, we get access to things! Finally, you know, we're journalists too." And that made me feel good to see that kind of reaction. But then you see the guys that are sitting down and they're huffing and puffing and they're looking around the room like, uh-oh, because they know they're in trouble. They know that they're not the priority anymore. And when they're not the priority, when they can't control the narrative, they can't control what you're seeing on TV and what's being reported, that's when they know that they're in big trouble. And I don't know what that means for them or their outlets, but I know what it means for all of us, and it's a good thing. So to see Caroline start each briefing with the new media seat, it's exciting. You know, we all look at each other like, oh, who's the new media going to be today? You know, to see Sage Steele there, you know, to see Shelby Talcott from Semaphore there, to see the CEO of Rumble there. That's so cool to actually get FaceTime with these people too. That's a whole other amazing opportunity and experience. So for people to be complaining about it, they're in for a surprise because, you know, like I said, this is just the beginning, and the next 4 years are going to be exciting. I'm excited. I think there's going to be another announcement. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to get ahead of Caroline, but I think there's going to be another announcement in the next less than 6 months that I think everyone should be tuning in for and definitely keeping an eye on, because I think that this latest shakeup is just the beginning. Like, you haven't seen anything yet. So we'll definitely leave it there.
I can't wait for it because you know what? This administration at this point, I'm looking at them going, I'm not going to like everything. I'm at like 90%, but I trust the people that are doing the thing. You know, like there's been Trump administration policy so far that I've disagreed with. I think Elon is breaking things and putting them back together when maybe we should measure a few more times before we cut. But I trust that they at least have the best interest of the American people at heart. So Carolyn wants to have a party, you know, go right ahead. And it's funny you talked about the new media seat, because people were aghast the first day. And like the guy they brought in was on a podcast with Mitch McConnell's former chief of staff. So it's not like they brought Alex Jones in. They didn't invite Joe Rogan. It was like they picked a guy who worked across the street for 20 years. Right. It was like they eased into it and still people couldn't handle it.
Right. I mean, it baffles me because they treat these people as if like they're not credible. They treat these people as if like they're not part of the club, that they're not one of us. But you know, there's an overwhelming majority of people that are shifting, and times are changing. Nobody's watching the talking heads anymore. No one's listening to the old 60-year-old guy on ABC anymore. We're looking at people who are inspiring intellectual conversations, and just to think about the world around them. And God forbid people even think anymore. I mean, they need to be told how to feel. They need to be told how to think from these mainstream media. We've seen that for years, and now we're inciting this opportunity to think for ourselves and do our own research. And clearly that's a problem with these people. So I'm so happy that all of this is imploding the way that it is because it needs to be. And if someone's going to do it, it's this administration. People are upset about it. This is what the president campaigned on, so nothing should come as a surprise. So I'm just excited to see what more is going to come out. I mean, we already have the Epstein files on the brink of being released. I've been seeing some things circulating.
Yeah.
Not sure if it's new or if it's old, but we're ready for it. I mean,
If you're
there's a
listening-
reason why Joe
if you're
Biden
listening,
didn't
Jack-
do it over the last 4 years. That's weird. There's
Yeah,
a reason
I'm-
why this administration is doing it now, and there's so much more to come.
I'm texting everybody I know who got the first files. I'm like, could we?
I know. I'm like, how do we get it?
We're all
Apparently, you have to go through the
dying
DOJ.
We're all dying right now,
I
but
know.
it is so, like I said, it's so inspiring to see. And just on a personal level, I'm so happy that so many of my friends in the industry, you and Dan and Brian, are succeeding finally and getting a seat at the table, because you all earned it from 4 years of. I mean, that's gotta suck to, like, imagine going to work for 4 years and just not doing it.
It wasn't fun, Kev. It was not fun at all. I mean, we just sit there and twiddle our thumbs all day. Like, all right, so what are we doing today? I don't know. Is there a briefing? Who knows? And then there is a briefing, and then it's delayed for the next hour and a half. So now we're all sitting there in the room wasting away for an hour and a half of our day where we could have been doing something else.
Yeah.
So it feels great. It's just refreshing. It's fun to go to work, and we have fun with it. And I think that's another thing that this White House is also kind of breeding in with this new administration, is just to have fun with it. People are having senses of humor again. Imagine that, a sense of humor, to see, the Truth Socials, to see Chung online on social media and his posts and his replies to Jen Psaki, by the way. It's hysterical.
Mhm.
People should be laughing more. People should be enjoying this time. We're in the golden age. Enjoy it. And to see these people sobbing and getting in a tizzy every day, it's like, what are you gonna do? I mean, we're smiling every day. We're having a blast. So you just gotta have fun with it.
That is so great. Well, you guys will see Monica plenty on this show as at the White House press briefing, which seems to be going off at 1 o'clock when it does, which is awesome because it's great for me. But because obviously we're on at 1 o'clock every single day. Make sure you guys tune in. Monica, where can everybody follow you? Because I get my White House, what is going on at 1600 Pennsylvania. I get it from you every morning on Twitter. So if you guys want to know what's happening, bill signings, what Trump is up to, press briefings, follow Monica on
Monica Page TV. There's a lot of frauds out there pretending to be me. There's a lot of bots. I've got like 7 bots who are trying to pretend to be my account, but it's Monica Page TV. I'm verified, so you can definitely check me out there. Kevin, I'm waiting for you to be in that briefing room with us in our corner. So let us know when you've got that badge and you're coming through. I hope. I
will call you from the Amtrak because there will not be enough time for me to make. I will be out of the studio so quickly that. On my way down, so hopefully
Kevin, you're gonna be sleeping here. We got to set up a sleeping bag for you.
Absolutely, I will put up a tent right on that little road behind you. That probably.
I love it. We got a space for you right in front of here.
Well, hopefully there's some shade under that tree. Keep me.
Not
cool.
Yet.
Not very soon.
Give a couple weeks. All right,
Monica,
Kev, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Anytime.
All righty, guys, we will be right back.
Sweet.
What do a neurosurgeon, a country artist, and a television and radio host have in common? They all saw the writing on the wall. Big banks sharing your financial information with big government. Join them as owners in Old Glory Bank, the pro-America online bank that protects your privacy, security, and liberty. Invest today at own.oldglorybank.com.
I still cannot get over that beating that just took place in the Oval Office. That was out of control. Guys, hit the thumbs up button. Share the video out all over the place. We're at 450. Do you think we can get to 500 by the end of the show? I think we can do it. A couple of minutes ago, this happened. Apparently, Donald Trump threw Vladimir Zelenskyy out of the White House.
This is really pretty incredible. We see the
Jackie,
SUV,
hang on with us one
Zelensky's
moment.
SUV.
If you look to your left, you're going to see him. Let's watch.
Mr. President, is the deal off? President Zelenskyy, can you tell us what happened?
There was supposed to be a press conference after that little Oval Office gaggle, that never happened. It seems like Donald Trump has thrown Zelenskyy out of the White House. I'm sure on the way out the door, J.D. Vance probably looked at him and said, "I'm Rick James, bitch," and smacked him in the face. Because that's what today has been. That's going, I tell you what, President Trump, hell of a job getting our minds off of the non-Epstein drop. Well done, guys. Well done. Guys, we got a couple minutes left where we're going to talk more about the Zelenskyy beating that just took place. Before we do that, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. That's your home base, your mothership, your landing pad for all things LFA-TV related. Check out the LFA-TV store, and while you guys are there, consider becoming monthly donors over at LFA-TV. That's the best way to support this network and everything we've got going on. So head on over to lfatv.us. Wow. I'm still blown away by that. Let's get the live chat up. That was out of control. I'm Rick James, bitch. That was, look, as I said, look, is it good what Putin did? Of course not. However, you're not owed anything by this country. You're not owed anything by the American people. And unfortunately, it's time that the world started to figure that out. It's time the world started figuring that out. I have no doubt in the coming days, maybe today, I'm going to put on CNN right after this show is over to see what they're talking about. But it seems as though he's just going to run the news right to CNN, ABC, MSNBC, to all those people just to complain. Instead of saying thank you, Daddy America. As I said the other day on Tim Pool, do I have that? Do I have that Tim Pool clip? No, I don't have. Yes. Yep. Here it is. Here with me on Tim Pool saying exactly this.
No, and you know what? You are totally right. And just the way Zelenskyy operates, like, wait, you mean you're not going to give me money? Like, I expect this. Not thank you for what you've done so far. When it comes to foreign policy, I've spent my entire life, I'm 35. Why? And it happened long before this. That every time there's an international conflict or a crisis somewhere, whether it's an earthquake or a landslide or a famine, something happening, the entire United Nations all get together and they look down the row and they go, "Hey, America, you guys got this, right?" And I'm sitting over here going, we are struggling. We have problems. There are people freezing to death in a tent in Western North Carolina right now, and I don't know what the NATO nations have done about it. I don't remember getting a lot from North Macedonia. I don't think we're getting a lot from Slovenia. If we got invaded right now and the Slovenians were like, "Hey, guys, we're on the way," do you feel safer about that? But no, we're paying for their top line expense, and then we get to be lectured to by the Europeans. Well, we have free schools, we have free health care, we have free this. Of course, because you're not paying the most. If somebody was paying my mortgage, I could afford to drive a Lamborghini.
And that's the point. That's the point. Guys, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. I want to thank President Trump and J.D. Vance for making my show incredibly easy today. Also, guys, do me a favor. Go check out Monica Page across all platforms. That is where I go every day to get my White House updates on what is happening. That's how I knew that there was going to be a meeting today between Zelenskyy and Donald Trump. Monica Page puts that out at about 9 a.m. every day. Absolutely worth the follow. I wouldn't sell you guys short. I absolutely would not sell you guys short. Go to loudmajorityusa.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. Will Johnson coming up next. Until tomorrow, everybody, stay loud.